Hello to you all. I'm actually recording this little snippet because I feel like this reading that I just recorded that you're on now needs a preamble, okay? The person that I'm reading for here is going through a difficult experience, okay? What's interesting for me is to observe how this energy, this collective energy that we're dealing with, is landing in different ways on people. We're going through a time of great change, great opportunity. But I'd like you to hear this because, let's say, even if it's not for you, okay, in particular, it speaks to how a lot of this incoming energy can land when you want to make the changes, but don't have all the information yet, and sort of move directly into fixing mode and, changing things the way you're used to changing them, and the kind of impact that it can have on the nervous system. Because I observed a similar sort of amount of energy coming in on a different reading, yet because of the perspective difference between, let's say, this person and that person, it's landing differently. And I just feel like this particular reading has very valuable insights, even for someone who is going through changes and would like to improve on certain aspects of how they are grappling with these changes. Okay, because it's not that the level, okay, and quantum of the opportunity is different. It's just the way the body is receiving it that's different. Moving on to the reading. I am getting so many messages. I haven't even laid any cards out. I heard you'll clean up later. I'm picking up on somebody who wants to make changes and they feel like they maybe are being a bit hasty in making these changes. They're saying you'll clean up later. It's as if you want everything in order, reconfigured and in its right place before you proceed. I'm almost getting the sense that your current environment is, suffocating is a strong word. It's not suffocating as it is like it's you feeling hot and bothered. I felt like the way you'd feel if like the steam in the room was turned up. It's like that. And so you now know too much and have learned too much to not make any changes. But in the process of reconciling where you're coming from and where you want to go, you almost want everything to sort of have come together in the way that you usually like things in order for you to proceed. They're saying you'll clean up later. Okay. They're saying nothing is a coincidence. There is no coincidence. It's as if there are some patterns you've picked up on and you're like, because things are moving so quickly, internally, lots of recons happening internally through what you're observing. I don't know what we're talking about here. They're saying these things are all related. And because you're vibrating at a certain frequency, okay, so this is the frequency that you're vibrating at, you're able to pick up these patterns. Nothing is a coincidence. So I'm speaking to someone who's gone through a shift, yet they haven't actually yet adjusted their environment, adjusted their, like when you change identities is the example that's coming up. Let's say, for example, you had black hair and, a certain way of dressing. And you've now learned some things that you want to change in your life. You completely feel it's uncomfortable having this black hair and this way of dressing on you, presenting yourself that way when you feel so different too. So there's a, what do they call it? Incongruence a dissonance between how you currently appear and how you feel, where you are and how you feel and what you know, okay? And so you want to dye your hair, cut your hair, change your style of clothes, new wardrobe. You know, this is an example. It's just an analogy because I don't really think this is how it's playing out, but I don't know, okay? Before you make these changes, they're saying you'll clean up later. That will come, and it's actually not meant to happen now. It's as if this transition is meant to happen the way it's unfolding. A lot of dynamics are yet to be understood. A lot of the changes, you're not yet clear how you want them to be executed. How? So that you want to make a change is yes. How you want it to be, not yet. You don't have that information yet. This is reminding me of the reading that we did not too long ago. One of last week's readings. I can't recall which one. But there was this sense that you don't have all the information that you feel like you need for a reason. And now that I've said that, if I look at where you were when we did that reading and where you are now, there's a definite shift in the energy in the sense that you are now getting hot and bothered because you haven't made any of these changes yet. And so I want to address that through this reading. Okay? I want to address that through this reading because this kind of feeling can make you start to fumble. This kind of temperament can cause one to fumble because the clarity around what needs to change has not yet landed or has not yet been understood. No, it's not yet landed. And you are feeling like you need to. Okay. What they're showing me is opening of windows. Opening of windows. If I think about this literally, it's showing me like letting fresh air in. You've shut yourself in. That will let some of the steam out. Okay. It will allow you to gather your energy because now what's happening is your energy is feeling trapped and it's starting to scatter and cause internal chaos is what I'm seeing. And so this reading is really about stabilizing your energy and, because you're never actually rushed into any decisions. We don't get rushed into decisions and changes and all of that. And now I want to also reconcile that with the idea that you'll clean up later. Okay, so, this idea of you'll clean up later is actually you have been rushing into the step of sorting things out, fixing. Okay, so you've been trying to fix without all of the information you need yet. It's happening very quickly. This whole thing is evolving very quickly. It's like you've got more information, more realizations. You've allowed your thoughts to kind of you've been deciding that this is not working. You find yourself sort of still standing in the same place because you haven't taken any action, and so now it feels like this whole thing is catching up with you more than you can stand. This reading is not for everyone. Please will you take it as it resonates, and also apply it, take a step back from it and apply this energy that I'm sharing across dimensions. And so don't feel the need to take this really literally. This is about some shifts that are happening within you that also may be manifesting it's likely that these are manifesting outside of you as well. The idea of identity keeps coming up. And this is speaking to me around, you can sometimes, there's two things. You could feel like an imposter, like you're still pretending to be small, or you're still pretending to be the former version of yourself, and this dissonance is uncomfortable. They're saying that these types of changes don't, the external stuff falls into place once the internal energy has settled and recalibrated and balanced in its new identity, in your new identity. Does that make sense? And so while you're still feeling that sort of sudden shift in how you're feeling internally, don't rush to fixing the external stuff too quickly. You don't actually have all of that information yet. You're in the in-between. You're in that in-between, and so don't rush yourself. You need some space to breathe and to let air in. Windows also speak to me around observation and perspective and opportunity. That's what the windows are speaking to me about. So they're saying that while you've sort of isolated, it's in the fresh air that this new information arrives. We can limit our perception of possibilities when we are still shut in, because exactly. So when you're in a room and the windows are closed and all of this sort of understanding has been shifting, okay, and wisdom is pouring in and insight, let's say, right? All of this is coming in. You're sort of expanding from the inside without allowing this old energy that's now being transformed to leave the room. And so that's hence this hot and bothered sort of energy. We're needing new air. And so you are trying to, within this hot and bothered energy, fix. This is the fixer, the organizer, the one who has things that they tick off a list and moves things around and puts them in place and then launches. Like, ta-da! They're saying this needs to be gentle, and we are needing still to receive new information and settle our energy. Okay. There's no rush. I feel like that message also came up. There's no rush. Yeah, I'm speaking to that reading that we did where someone's on the edge of a diving board. It feels like that. It feels like that. And so now you want to jump. You want to jump, but you kind of, you feel like you're not quite equipped yet, and you don't have, so this reading is about reminding you that there's no rush and that we still need some new information, and to not isolate. I'm pulling a chakra spread. I just did the same spread with these cards for members, so please, members, look out for that reading. I am seeing a person standing, those pictures where the person who's standing sort of with traffic moving and like all blurred out on the street, and they're standing still, but all this traffic and all this sort of noise is sort of blurred out in the background. And this is sort of telling me that, first of all, your external world is starting to feel quite noisy. This also, the contrast between like you standing still and all these things moving gives the sense of you feeling like you're running out of time. You're not running out of time. You're not running out of time. And they're definitely recommending meditation. Okay, meditation. Because what meditation does, and I want to say a few words on meditation, but what meditation does is that it basically restores the feeling that time is not running away from you, because you're getting still and you're focusing on your breath, and it gives you a chance to catch up with your body. And there's a lot more sophisticated stuff that gets taken care of in terms of balancing your energy and catching up with yourself, that you don't even have to make an effort about. So this is like, when I say meditation, I'm referring to sitting and breathing. This doesn't have to happen with silence. It doesn't have to happen with your eyes closed or open. It's like literally sitting and breathing, and just making sure you're breathing. And so if thoughts come up, people have different ways of meditating. I'm sharing with you what I've found works best for me, across basically circumstances, whether I'm super stressed or just feeling scattered, whatever it is, or just breathing to keep up with myself, even when things are fine. It's actually just about coming back into your body, and you'll get used to it. You'll get used to it. In your crown, I have the Tower, which, to be honest, I'm not surprised. Just given what I'm sensing into, clarified by the 10 of Wands in reverse. It's this realization. It sounds like, oh my God, I don't have to do this. It feels like that. And so there's this new understanding about, not just your threshold, but how severely these changes are needed. I'd love for you to please listen to my words with discernment. As I read for you, I can tell that I'm speaking to someone whose energy is not where they want it to be. Okay? And so this is very much about gathering your energy. I am being sort of reminded to remind me and to remind you about gentleness. There's no rush. And so this is about gathering your energy. A lot is going to resolve through gathering your energy. And allow yourself to feel, okay? When you move directly into the fixing sort of zone and mindset, before you've allowed all of these realizations from this Tower to settle. A Tower is like a shift in perspective. I feel like you were gathering information before, and now you kind of like have enough information, but even more is reaching you. It's a lot. Okay, there's a lot. And so they almost also do want you still allow the traffic to blur out while you sink into the moment and feel into what your actual emotions are saying, because they want to be felt. The emotions don't want to be bypassed. There's a lot of information in there. They're saying nothing will fall apart. You're not falling apart. You're coming together. You're coming together. The idea of falling apart is an idea. It is like sort of words that we put onto this feeling that comes up as the ideas of how things were meant to work start crumbling. And so now, because that it's like a building and the building starts crumbling and you're like, oh my God, I need a new building. You need a new building, and they're like, no, it's okay. Right now what we need is this fresh air. Please excuse the noise in the background. What we need right now is this fresh air, because there's so much you're about to learn. And they're saying so much that you're going to learn to balance out a lot of these words are coming this way, horrible insights that you've gathered. They're saying there's a lot that's coming in that's going to balance that out. Okay, but while you're isolating, all you're getting is this horrible information, let's put it that way. And so they're saying some fresh air allows the new information to come in. Okay, and so this process of gathering your energy is also going to help you with the idea of acceptance. In your third eye, I've got the 9 of Swords clarified by the 6 of Swords and Judgment. This is, they're wanting me to speak to you about the importance of gathering your energy, because what's happening right now is that you sort of in this doom sense. You sort of sensing into doom. And also the fear of walking away from things that you'd committed to. They're saying this is part of the dissonance between your realizations and who you're becoming. And if you can allow that energy to settle, all of the new information to settle, for your shift in how you're seeing yourself and your situation to settle, how you feel when you make changes, you'll feel very different. Okay, so what we're dealing with here is overwhelm. We're dealing with overwhelm, and what happens is that when we are sort of feeling trapped in overwhelm, it can allow our third eye to, there's a lot of information available through the third eye. Let me just say this. Your intuition can share a lot with you. However, when you're, and I want to see what's happening in your solar plexus here, when you are in fear, your sort of discernment around what you're receiving is very much based on the fact that you're not feeling settled, that you're not feeling safe and settled. Okay, and so they're also telling me don't believe and feed into everything that you are preempting. You kind of, and I don't want to put this too hard on you, but you don't want to, you are in the process of feeding your experience. And so this is to explain the importance of gathering your energy so that you can start to feed your experience with something more balanced. They're saying that there's so much going on around you, and you are taking in all of this information before you have actually received your new information. And so it's kind of like you need to allow your environment to shift by allowing new information in. You've trapped yourself in your environment, and you are feeding off your environment, and you need air. I had to pull the rest of the cards so I can see everything now. Okay. I'm speaking to someone who's very intuitive. You have been feeling a lot into your situation, and you see the Queen of Cups in your heart. You're receiving this information for a reason. I'm speaking to somebody who's going through a major rebirth. Okay, a major rebirth, rooted in truth. Okay, it feels rooted in truth. However, a lot of this truth around where you're going, where you want to go, how things are supposed to work, how they are not working. It's a lot of information reaching you all at the same time. Okay, and I see in your throat the 3 of Wands. You're waiting for certain information to take action. I can see that. But look in your solar plexus, you've got the Knight of Wands and the 2 of Swords. And this for me speaks to rushing to take action before you understand. So this is information you don't yet have. And also the input that you're currently getting that's making you afraid is resulting in, it feels chaotic. It feels like we really need to stabilize your energy here. Okay, when I look at your sacral chakra, there's a lot that is being offered. Okay, there's a lot of opportunity. Like on the other side of this, there's a lot. They want you to understand there's a lot of opportunity, and that's also why so much of this information is being channeled through However, your system, your body, and your mind are not keeping up with all of the incoming. Okay, and in order to balance that, that's why we need a breather. We need a space and fresh air to be able to get a breather to balance us out. Okay, because I see that one of the things you're worried about, this Two of Pentacles, it fell out just like this on its side. Okay, so this is speaking to me about you feeling very unsure about this Empress and Nine of Wands. You feel very unsettled and unsure about where this change is going to take you. There's a sense of wanting to preserve your sense of value, your comfort, your stability, not be stressed. You don't want to cause yourself more stress. You don't want to sort of cause damage to your experience. There's this idea that you have that this decision that you're making, that you're in the process of executing on or trying to, you somehow have landed on the possibility that this will all put you at a disadvantage. And I'm here to tell you that you are wrong. Okay, you are wrong. With the Queen of Cups in your heart, this tells me that you are currently in the state of attracting information that is going to be helpful for you. Okay, you're a deep feeling person. This experience, everything around you is moving around and making you feel shoved around, because this is something that's been activated from within you. Okay, and so it's almost like things felt under control when you started having these realizations, and now they feel out of control because the realizations are over realizationing, and you feel like you're standing still. Okay, again, that person with the traffic passing and the blur out, everything's blurred. So we just need to embrace some stillness. And I know it sounds like too simple a solution. It sounds like too basic a solution. It sounds like basic advice. But I'm telling you that all we're needing to do here is gather your energy, because I can see from the kind of activity that I'm seeing in these cards, you are supported. Okay, you are supported. You've got generosity in your sacral chakra, and you've got the Queen of Cups in your heart. You've also got the ability to, you're not even the ability, how you're seeing stuff, like the fact that you've actually been dealing with such a tower in your mind. It's understandable that this is your experience. It's understandable that this is your experience, but it's as if time in your mind is limited. Time outside of your body, from what I'm looking at, is expansive, yet there's a warped perception of like how time is working with you right now. There's a warped perception of how time is working with you right now. You feel like you're running out. Time is being generous. And it's this perception that's just shaken up, unsteadied by the influx of information that is throwing you off. Things that the way you're experiencing things is not how I'm actually seeing them play out. And I'm not gaslighting you here. I'm not telling you that what is happening around you is not happening, because you've got eyes, you've got intuition, it's happening. I am more zoning in here on the things that are creating fear for you, because a lot of that is time-based, and a lot of that is based on the uncertainty, when actually it's not to say things are uncertain, it's that you cannot see what's ahead. We sometimes take the idea of not being able to see what's ahead, and we sort of rationalize and decide that that means things are uncertain. And then we take that uncertainty and we load it with some of the worst possible outcomes, which then starts to define, sort of inform our experience. Okay. And again, I'm going to take you back. A lot of the pressure that's being applied here feels like time. It feels like there's not enough time. Okay. And they're saying you have time. And they're saying catch up with your time through breath. You're going to see the change. You're going to see the shift that it brings to your experience. I'm going to pull an oracle card here. I think a Rumi oracle card. But before I go there, I want to say that if you found this reading helpful, please return to check for when I read for this energy again. Okay, because I feel like I am going to return. This was not the easiest, but I feel like this is also a reflection of your experience. But I'm saying that I will return because I'd really like to invite you into this idea of stillness and breath and meditation, because it's going to help. And also to this idea of opening your windows and giving yourself a break from fixing. Okay? Because your heart wants care, and so it's inviting care in. And I'm going to see this shift in your energy. I'll be here to see this shift in your energy and to read your energy to you so that you can see what's going on here, because I'm speaking to somebody who has the capacity, what's this word? Propensity. I'm going to have to look that up. You've got the capacity and the propensity to make sudden change. It's like the universe supports you in making sudden changes. Okay. But with that comes this need to learn how to balance your energy so that you can keep up with these. I've got a bigger tractor here. I want clarity on this Queen of Cups. I have the Hanged Man. You see, what this is telling me is that a lot of these, you opened the floodgates on this situation. So, when I spoke about sort of having some realizations and then sort of grounding those, and then this new rush of realizations coming in, like I don't have to do this. These are changes that you have been deciding on for a long time, an extended period. Okay. And so now it's as if everything is reaching you at once. So you are supported here. Because it's like you needed a change and now it's just rushed in, but your body and your mind and your identity haven't caught up yet. And so the overall message here is, don't rush trying to clean up now. You'll clean up later. What needs to happen now is to come back to a balance internally. Also get some fresh air for fresh perspective, fresh care. Okay? They're also explaining that this temperament, this state that you find yourself in now does result in misreading your position. You are thinking and seeing yourself as like compromised. I'm seeing almost weak. You're not. If I look at how quickly this change is happening, you are not. I want to share that the reading I just read for members has got a lot of changes happening. Okay. But the temperament of the person I was reading for very different. As if they had this awareness of changes that they're creating, using their wand to wield their power, okay, to make these changes, using the fire to illuminate one thing at a time that needs to change, and through that, gradually learning this understanding of how they are able to create changes to shift how they're feeling. And so they've been honing in on this sort of ability like a magician. Okay. So using all of this input gradually and pacing it in. Okay. And there was a lot of breath in there. So that reading opened with breath already happening. A lot of fire, a lot of transformation. Okay. And so it is possible to move through changes, sort of gradually and feeling more in control. It is very much possible. However, right now, you're not so much using fire, you're using air. And so this is a lot that's happening in your mind, trying to manage things through the mind and not allowing enough air in to sort of balance your perspective. Okay, and to see yourself correctly. This is sort of reminding me of people who walk on coals, hot coals. I can't imagine it, but my understanding is that they are sort of trained or prepared to do this. They're taught how to do this and to sort of manage their energy, and I don't know how it's done. So to one person, it seems impossible, okay, because it's hot coals and bare feet. But to another person, they learn how to do this. Okay. So this is possible to work through this energy. To an extent, this feels like, a mirrored, these readings feel like the inverse, because the energy that's overarching here is change. The energy that's overarching here is change, manifestation, magician sort of energy. Okay. Lots coming in, attraction. That's the energy. However, the difference that the nuance here is in how this energy is being worked with. Okay. How this energy is being worked with. The card that I have here is Blessing of Al-Hakim. A blessing of divine wisdom of Al-Hakim is being ministered to your soul, watched over by Rumi himself. This is soul medicine. It is a spiritual gift of healing, prophecy, insight, and the capacity to surrender any impatient claim for what you cannot yet have. As you receive this gift, this blessing which happens at a soul level, your attitude to life becomes more curious, open, still, and receptive. You no longer have to drive the unfoldment of your desires into form. You rest in assurance that your daily application and effort is enough, and so is your surrender. Mental anguish is soothed, and you are able to accept the unfathomable nature of divinity in its expression of itself as life. You become comfortable with the reality that the price of being closer to the divine is the giving up of your need to always understand. From this place of increasing stillness, great activity will flow. You shall become capable of being the surrendered vessel to the guiding divine hand, and truly great contributions to the human soul evolving can occur through you. So much will simply emerge, erupt, pulsate, and emanate out of you, and yet you will feel within as though you are doing nothing at all, even whilst so much is happening through you. Such holy paradox shall become your daily experience. You may feel, unexpectedly perhaps, that in some ways your vision for your life and purpose, your divine passion, is clearer than ever before, and in other ways, completely unknown to you, a discovery yet to be made. That is as it should be. Wisdom bestows upon us the sane capacity to work with the opportunities that are right before us, to release situations and circumstances that have passed, and to allow the future to take its shape according to the ineffable timing of life itself. This oracle comes with special guidance for you. If you are uncertain about an issue in your life, be at peace. There is divine healing that can occur most readily in the unknowing. Follow the sacred honoring ritual and know that all is indeed well, beloved soul. Perhaps you are journeying very deep indeed, and your allegiance to your intellectual mind is softening in favor of allegiance to your heart knowing. You may find yourself craving different company with different interests, or finding the world of opinions and debate rather less to your liking, and the worlds of creative expression more nurturing and nourishing to your essence. If this is the case, this oracle comes as confirmation to trust in the changes you feel within, in any and all ways, no matter how insignificant or dramatic they may seem. Know that they are seedlings of a new way that shall grow from one step into an entirely new and more sacred orientation in your life. You will not necessarily have any idea how that will happen or what it will look like. This matters not. The acorn becomes the oak because that is its innate destiny. It happens without any active participation apart from a willingness to grow through life. So it is with the precious blooming now happening within your soul. To know less can bring the greatest gift and blessing of all, to be able to love and therefore live more freely. This oracle also comes with special guidance to bring you peace. Look to the old ways, to the ancient wisdom teachings that run as one vein of life, giving love through all traditions. The old wisdoms teach of cycles, of timing, of letting go to allow for new life to happen, and of the greater intelligence and scheme of life to which we must surrender if we are ever to know even a moment's peace. The fire in your belly is a beautiful aspect of you. Just let it be the breath that swirls around, and through the heart that ignites it, not the passing huffing and puffing of the impatient mind. For when the fire in the belly is fanned by the breath of the heart, you shall have peace and dynamic movement, restful stillness and soul-inspired action, all at once. You shall become one with the living holy paradox, and the healing power of your love shall know no bounds. Sacred honoring ritual. Say aloud, I call on the divine presence that loves me unconditionally, and I surrender into your wisdom. Bless me now with the ability to accept your grace, your bounty, and your gift of my life in all its mystery. Help me learn and grow, that I may realize the love that lies within all, including my own being. May I dwell in the loving mystery of sacred compassion. I call upon the wisdom of the ancient ones, those who love me unconditionally and know truth. May your power and knowledge calm my mind and ignite my spirit, so that I may be one with love, empowered in peace and purpose. So be it. Rest. You have completed your sacred honoring ritual. I'm going to leave this here. If you listened to this to the end and you are someone who needed this reading, I really commend you for making it to the end. To be clear, it doesn't sound like I'm speaking to someone who has lost optimism. I just feel like I'm speaking to someone who's reckoning with the changes they're making and trying to do damage control and you're almost trying to control all the external aspects of this shift. Okay? And I feel like I'm catching you before you put yourself through more stress than you need. Okay? Sending you so much love.